Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call the Richmond City Council meeting to order on Monday, January 26, 2026. May I have a motion on the minutes?
Moved. Second.
Discussion, all those in favor, opposed, carried. Madam Clerk, agenda additions and deletions.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have one agenda correction. It's for item 7, which is a community safety motion on page CNCL 3. And the suggestion is to reword the motion to adjust the wording by replacing Vancouver Coastal Health with the wording Medical Health Officer for Richmond.
All right, may I have a motion on the agenda with that change?
Moved. Second.
Discussion, all those in favor, opposed, carried. So we start off our business with a presentation from Tourism Richmond. I'll call forward Nancy Small to present an award. Please come forward, have a seat, and introduce yourself and tell us about it.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm Nancy Small, CEO of Tourism Richmond. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you, and I wanted to, first of all, thank you very much for supporting this award and what it means to our industry and to the community. Every year for the past 3 years, Tourism Richmond, we have done a year-end celebration to recognize key partners in our city, in the tourism industry, who have exhibited and gone above and beyond to showcase our industry's what we call EPIC values. Excellence, passion, integrity, collaboration. EPIC. The Excellence Award for Innovation recognizes Richmond businesses and organizations for innovative approaches to product development and customer engagement. Very happy to announce, as we did back in November, that Britannia Shipyard's National Historic Site won the 2025 award for its Heritage Boat Restoration Program, a unique Canadian initiative where visitors can watch live restorations, interact with shipwrights, and learn traditional Japanese-Canadian techniques. This very cool initiative really showcases how history and heritage can be brought to life. And it was wonderful to be able to recognize our partners at Britannia Shipyard and the innovative work that's being done. On behalf of our awards committee and the team at Tourism Richmond and our board of directors, we really wanted to thank Mayor and Council for their support and investment in this innovative program, and really excited about future partnerships to come. So with that, I do have a special...
I'll come and accept it in just 1 minute,
Okay.
But I just wanted to say thank you to Tourism Richmond. People will know that we partner with Tourism Richmond in many different facets of community life. They've been big supporters at the Oval with the sport hosting program. Certainly in Steveston, there's many different initiatives and elsewhere in Richmond. So I just want to say thank you. Please pass that along to all your staff.
I will. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, with that, we have a motion to resolve in a committee of the whole to hear delegations on items that are on the agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor, opposed, carried. Are there any parties here tonight who wish to address council about items that are on the agenda? Anyone here? May I have a motion to rise and report?
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried. That brings us to the consent agenda. We have the receipt of the committee minutes, the Community Safety Committee motion, which was referred to by Madam Clerk. We have the award of a contract for the supply and delivery of computer equipment and related services, the application by Vancouver Coastal Health for a temporary commercial use permit, at 5768 Mineru Boulevard. We have two 2025 annual reports and 2026 work programs for the Youth Advisory Committee and the Social Development Advisory Committee. Then we have land use applications for first, second, and third reading. First of all, it's 8560 Heather Street rezoning from RSMM zone to RSMS zone. And 12, 871, 73, and 75 Railway Avenue rezoning from low-density townhouses, RTL1, to medium-density low-rise apartments, RAM1 zone. May I have a motion to adopt those items by general consent? Moved and seconded. Councillor Day.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to some of the items on the agenda. It's quite a varied agenda. The award of the contract for $535,000 a year for a total of $3.7 million for computer equipment. It seems like a lot of money, but it is for 7 years. And I understand that we use our equipments past their normal lifespan and try to make the best possible use of taxpayer dollars when purchasing that equipment. And then for the application for Vancouver Coast Health Authority for temporary commercial parking, when is the hospital going to get built? Everyone asks that question. Well, the hospital is under major changes already. They've moved the cancer clinic, they've moved the psychiatric ward to other areas on the site. And the next step is tearing down the parkade. Well, needless to say, that's going to be a big problem for people visiting the hospital. So what we're doing is giving a parking permit for, I think it's 3 to 5 years, for staff to park elsewhere so that visitors to the hospital can still park on the northeast portion of the hospital property. And then the Youth Advisory Committee meeting, I see Grace is here. Thank you so much. You've worked so well with these young people. I'm on that committee, and it's hard to work sometimes with young people that maybe don't quite understand the system, but their enthusiasm is infectious, and they provide a great perspective that we don't normally get. So I'm really pleased to be on that committee. And then the small-scale multifamily. This is going to be 2 houses, item number 12. It's going to be 2 houses with 2 suites. So we're making maximal use of that property. And number 13 is the application for Richmond for changing the zoning of a building that's already there. Well, that was one of those whoops. We thought we had it zoned correctly, but the people from the strata contacted the city and said, actually, we've got the wrong zoning for what's already been built in 1986. So this is just a housekeeping item. So with that, I'll vote for everything on the consent agenda.
Councillor McNulty.
Yes, I'll be very brief, Your Worship. On the Social Service and Development Advisory Committee and their annual report and the good work that they're doing, I just want to make a comment on it, and a suggestion is, as you well know, they're to act as a resource and give advice to the city on social issues. But given what they're doing and all the diverse areas that they're trying to cover, this is a committee that deals with mental health and addiction. And I think given what's in vogue now in the community and what have you, we're looking forward to this on their agenda, Your Worship, and discussion that can come back to us on it, and as well as the poverty reduction with the number of community meals and the number of faith groups that are out there supporting our community. I think this committee is tremendously valuable to us, and especially with the homeless. And I just hope that we're going to continue to get recommendations from them so that we can hopefully deal with some of these critical issues. So I'll be supporting everything on the agenda. And I guess given the other item I wanted to mention is with the Vancouver Coastal Health, is that hopefully we would get, maybe we can get monthly reports and monthly updates on the status of where the hospital is. I made a comment, now if we approve this quickly, that means we'll get the hospital sooner. That wasn't a facetious comment. I was very serious about that any time that we can move permits along very quickly and development for that hospital, then I think we should do that. The community has raised countless dollars. I think it's about $55 million, well over what they promised. And is just now waiting for Victoria to release the various contracts and get the hospital built so we can have it. So I'm looking forward to it. So I'll be supporting everything on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll call the question on the consent agenda. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Brings us to, there's two items that are not on the consent agenda. Number 14 is the proposed update to Richmond's demolition waste and recyclable materials bylaw to increase diversion. I won't read out the resolution. It is what has been published, which I will move.
Second.
I think the title says it all. We looked at the substance of this a while ago, a month or two ago, and council gave instructions to go ahead with the updates to the bylaws. And so here we have the bylaws and the implementation plan. The idea is to increase the amount of our demolition waste and the recyclable materials that we process. So we'll go to the comments. Councillor Day.
Yeah, thank you very much. The recommendations that are on the motion are with collaboration and cooperation working with the developers. So we know that these are achievable. It's also important to note that a lot of these new guidelines won't come into effect till January 2027, which was requested by the builders. And but having said that, we're already exceeding our current guidelines with, I believe it was on page 91 of the report today, that 556 demos on average, and they're at 85% diversion. So well above what the requirement is today. And if you go to page 92, there's actually a recycle chart that shows exactly all the details, which I won't go into. But I'm proud of the work that we're doing, and it was council's direction that kind of put pressure on the developers to do a better job of recycling all their building materials. And with that many demolitions a year, you've got to do it right. And we are doing it right. I think we're a leader in the Metro Vancouver communities. So I'll be supporting this.
All right, Councillor McNulty.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. I didn't support at committee level to make a point, even though we're a leader in this area, I don't think we should let it go to our heads. We should continue in striving to maintain the goal that we've set for ourselves. And I'd like to see that put in the policy, actually. We have a diversion rate of 85% and a compliance rate of 95%. But I think we should still push the limit. I don't want to hide behind industry standards and wait for industry to catch up to us. I think if we're going to continue along to be a leader, I think we have it. We continue to do that. I guess the one thing I didn't like was the administrative fee for unclaimed securities of $1,000. We'll see how that works. It can always be changed down the road. But we'll put it there. And the scope of the recyclables is good. And I think it's a great report. I'd like to see this go to Metro Vancouver to see that some policies be changed at that level, and also some of the other communities. I don't think it's that difficult to do what's required, but if they don't have a policy, maybe they can formulate one based on this document that we got in front of us. So I'll be supporting it this time, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Wolf.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I'll be supporting it as I did at committee. I just wanted to highlight, I researched a little bit since then with Metro Vancouver, and just as our staff had mentioned that there's no data available for multifamily and non-residential demolition, like what percentage diversion rate they get, it's not known in the city and also regionally. But the Metro Vancouver staff are working on on that, and maybe bringing some more accurate details to it in March. So what we're doing here with this proposal is in line with what is happening throughout the region. We have limited capacity at our landfills, the Vancouver landfill and the Eco Waste site, and the incinerator waste energy facility can only burn so much at a time, and all of our other options are very costly, like sending things to landfills in the US. So we do need to keep up with increasing diversion rates, and this is a way to get there. Thank you.
Councillor Liu.
Thank you, Worship. I won't be supporting this. I didn't support it in committee, and I won't support it now. I think that it's got some things that raise more questions than answers. The administrative fee for unclaimed securities. It makes me wonder if our process is too cumbersome. If you've got up to $75,000 sitting with the city and you don't know that you should be getting it back, how come we just haven't sent it back to you? How come we don't have one place where all of your deposits and securities and everything are sitting with the city so that you can see it all together and it makes sense for you as a developer or a builder, or even as a single, if you're trying to build your own house as somebody. I think if we're already reaching our goal numbers, why are we putting it into a bylaw? Why are we making more bureaucracy around what we're already doing? I think that we all know that we saw the budget come out a little while ago. We saw how our DCCs have taken a huge dive in the last quarter because there are very few applications coming in the door right now. Not much is happening. Every time we add one extra piece, one more straw to put on the camel's back, it's going to slow down development. It's curtailing everything. It's just one more cut. We can wait a year and implement it next year when hopefully things are turning around. I don't think this is a good time to be adding more bureaucracy to what we're doing.
Councillor Hobbs.
Thank you, and through the chair. Good report. Some very impressive numbers in terms of where we're at and what the industry is achieving. I do have a couple questions of staff, though. I did support it at committee. Since then, a couple people have called me up about it, and I just want staff to be able to elaborate a little bit on some of the concerns that were expressed to me. Some of them were along the lines of what Councillor Liu just referred to, one more layer of bureaucracy being put on the industry at a time where it's very difficult to get projects going ahead. And, one of the concerns, I think, for council, and for me anyway, is that we increase the housing supply and continue to get things built. So in terms of impact on people being able to achieve a project and see it through to the end, in terms of the impact that this might have on cost to that project, in terms of the concern expressed by a few people in the last few days that did call about the layers of bureaucracy and how it might make it more difficult for them to achieve their goal of completing their project. Can you just comment a little bit about the feedback that you did receive in a bit more detail and the impact that this has or does not have from your experience in going through it?
Through your worship to Councillor Hobbs, absolutely. The feedback we did receive from industry was that in the single family world, the construction projects are already planning for this. And in the multifamily non-residential world, this is already taking place in most cases. Because it makes financial sense for a lot of these projects to recycle and upload materials, they're taking into the consideration of this process already. The bureaucracy itself, I can speak to. We are attempting to reduce the bureaucracy by removing a couple schedules in the bylaw to mainstream the application of and the receiving of the funds back to the developer in a timely manner. And I will say that we have seen through other processes in a similar function improvement rates on the amount of money that we're giving back to developers through these types of processes.
Okay, so your suggestion is that, or what you're saying, your comment reflects Councillor Liu's comment about money being returned in a more timely way. And does this proposed timeline set out in the bylaw, was that widely supported by people in the industry in terms of giving enough lead time and fitting with their expectations?
Through your worship to Councillor Hobbs, that's correct. The The one-year timeline from adoption was highly supported. Also, the stepped process where we could go back, if endorsed, and work with industry to develop the guidelines, the bulletins, and those types of things as we work forward into that process after the 1 year was widely adopted, was widely accepted and approved by both industries.
My last question through the chair is just overall then, is this something that is anticipated to save builders money in the overall process, or is there a financial impact to them?
What we heard through your worship to Councillor Hobbs, what we heard is that because of the processes already involved, that there would be a zero cost impact to developers, and it would continue to be a zero cost impact to single family homeowners, because the current process is set up such that they can recycle a large amount of material, including concrete. As the secondary market begins to develop through these types of materials in Metro Vancouver for wood, plastics, and those types of things, the ability for them to recoup money through taxable benefits or donations or things like that will only also increase as well.
All right, thank you.
Can you comment on the effective date for the new bylaws?
Through your worship, the effective date would be 1 year from adoption, which would be next January for the first phase, and 2029 for the next phase, which would align us with the federal and provincial.
So if it's not, from my point of view, if it's not time to do this, we're not doing this right now. We're just putting it in place right now so everybody knows what's coming. Councillor Heed.
Thank you, Mayor. You consulted industry with respect to this, correct?
Through your worship to Councillor Heed, that's correct.
Was there any pushback?
Not any pushback worth noting.
Okay, and you're telling me it's zero cost impact?
That's the feedback that we received, correct.
Okay, and can you tell me, you go to a maximum of 75,000, what is the average?
Through your worship to Councillor Heed, I can't quite give you an average because it's a square footage of a property size. We've only had single family to date, and we haven't had multifamily yet. Perhaps my colleague can help me out.
Through your worship to Councillor Heed, based on what we've collected to date and balance outstanding, the average per application is approximately $4,000.
$4,000?
Refundable, correct.
That's it?
Per application of the non-refundable deposit, that's correct.
Great, thank you. So when Councillor Liu brought up the point of us giving deposits back, that's a different aspect, in my opinion, that we'd be discussing. But in this case, it looks like now we have an average of 4,000 per application now, and you're telling me zero cost impact at the end of the day on the, thank you.
Okay, thank you. With that, I will call the question. All those in favor? Those opposed? It's carried with Councillor Liu opposed. That brings us to item 15, the approval to commence court proceedings challenging the order of the Information and Privacy Commissioner, the Public Safety Camera System Program. Staff recommends that the commencement of court proceedings in the Supreme Court of British Columbia seeking to judicially review and quash and set aside the order of the Information and Privacy Commissioner dated January 14th, 2026, and seeking necessary court declarations confirming the legality of the City of Richmond's Public Safety Camera System Program be approved, and I would so move. Second. I just want to make a few remarks just to let the public know what is being suggested here. For a number of years, Richmond has been trying to introduce a camera system at intersections, and the Privacy Commissioner has been basically been in the way of that. Not by making an order of prohibition, just by not approving it and giving comments. The program that is now envisioned would have 10 intersections being involved. The order was made over the test intersection, which was just one intersection. And the idea is that we would not allow the active real-time review of what is going on at the intersections. It would simply be a video that would be made. And if the RCMP want access to that video, there would be a judicial procedure for them to obtain the video footage, and the resolution would be high enough that it could be taken into court and used as evidence. So I do have some comments, but I'll just wait for others to make comments first. Councillor McNulty.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. I have a comment, a question of our solicitor on that, if I may. Your Worship, I think that this is a absolute critical request for us, especially in the times that we have around it, and the protection for not only our citizens, but also the RCMP to utilize that. I think given what we see around the surrounding area and the environment that we're in, and we're all in it in Metro Vancouver when you think about what's going on, I'm not going to itemize any specific one. You don't have to use your imagination to go on. To not allow something like this in the community, one is, if nothing, as a deterrent. And I think we've explained the usage that we would use, and I think that was straightforward. So to me, this is critical. The commissioner's got to come around and see what's going on. The province isn't putting any more resources into crime and safety, and they've got a lot on their plate. And I think cameras will have we have them on every doorstop. We have them in garages. We have them in lanes. We have them everywhere. I have one here. Okay, so you want to get, I can turn the video on and got you all on it. You're all on it now. I don't know, I can use it. So, and I'm not being facetious. It's a fact, and it's something that we're dealing with now. And I think we got to get with the times. We've had extortions in the community. We had kidnappings. We've had drive-by shootings, same as any other community, and we had no trace of them, etc. Not that we necessarily would, but we should have them. I'd like to, through you, Your Worship, ask our legal. The other communities, Vancouver and Surrey, have cameras, and maybe others. On what basis do they have the camera for whatever usage they use and are allowed to use it, and the commissioners not come back and say you can't use them?
Through your worship to Councillor McNulty, I can't speak to the specifics of other municipalities, what approvals they've sought, or whether or not they're just proceeding without approval. But what I can say is that unless this recommendation is adopted, our public safety camera system here in Richmond would come to an end.
And how much have we already, another question, how much have we already contributed to the cameras that we already have got there and what we're proposing?
Through your worship to Councillor McNulty, we have spent so far on the testing approximately $75,000. However, the phase one that was approved by council is in excess of $2 million. And as is noted in the report, we have been repeatedly pointing out that we need an order from the Information and Privacy Commissioner, otherwise we will run the risk of spending millions only then to have an order to dismantle. And that's taken 18 months to get to the position where we are now, so that we don't spend $2 million only then to have a negative outcome.
Well, thank you for that. I think the public need to know, and I think we need to continue lobbying for that. And so I'll be supporting the resolution on the floor vociferously, Your Worship. Thank you.
All right. Councillor Wolf.
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, I'll speak as brief as I can. This was a 172-page package addition that came in without following our guidelines of 5 business days. So a lot to get through, and I probably won't be given enough time to speak to all the different issues I have with it. The main thing here is asking council to challenge a decision made by the Office of the Privacy Commissioner, which I disagree with for a number of reasons that I'll highlight in the sections here. First off, I think the biggest issue I have with this is we're going about it as a city expense, impacting taxpayers. We're not putting boots on the ground officers. We're instead spending all of this on technology that can get compromised and used in illegal ways for ransomware and scamming and accessing footage with even greater technology than we're trying to spend probably upwards of $7 million on when we include all of the phases and all of the court cases that are lining up against us. There's a number of pages here. I'll just highlight a couple of them that if you go through the whole 172 pages, it's now available to the public. Many of these, the conversations that the city has been having with the privacy commissioner have not been available, but now you can look through all of the responses that the city has made, and I think some of them are not true accurate responses. So, for example, the commissioner wanted to know, give us an example and a number of files, cases, criminal actions that the cameras could have solved. And what do we do in that section? We list all 32,000 crime files that happen over the span of 3 years, that every single crime could have been solved by this. This has been made out to be the solution to a lot of problems, where I think it would be a solution to very, very few and in a very costly way, and shouldn't be the burden of our city and our taxpayers. If you want, and there's many people out there in the public who want more dollars spent on law enforcement in the city, who are asking us to put more boots on the ground in problem areas. And they're happy to have an increase in property tax. Then we get the opposite. We get people who want far less on law enforcement. What was that?
Just carry on.
And then there's many out there who want far less money spent on law enforcement and lowering the property taxes. I think we're only appeasing part of both of those with what we're doing. There's this test pilot, one intersection just down the road here, 8 cameras. The privacy commissioner highlighted the fact that we put up this sign and it only captures 2 of the directions that vehicles are passing. Doesn't capture the south and the north and the south. Doesn't allow the pedestrians who are listed under our plan to be captured, their faces as well. So we have a both content and location of signage issue with our pilot. We've been told to delete everything, disband the whole system. So there is, I feel, no reason for us to go forward to the phase 1 and hit up 10 more intersections and get even greater challenge. Many people lawyers have been interviewed on news networks in the last week since the word went out that the city was going to challenge this, although council didn't get any notification that was going to happen until our package came to us. And many of the legal minds think that the city's just opened itself up to a huge class action lawsuit, and that people could be coming together and filing against the city for not being duly notified that their image was captured. So I think we've already spent $70,000. We're looking to spend $50,000 more. There's so much more risk that the city has just put ourselves under by going this far. I've been adamant all along the way that this is not the way to address crimes, and it shouldn't fall on us. There should be a more regional approach. There should be a provincial approach. And I think one of the great things in this report is that there's 3 recommendations for the city to comply with, and then there's 1 for the province. And I think that one's great. It basically puts the onus on the province that any biometric data that's collected needs to be regulated by the province, not allowing cities who are not entitled to work the way we are under the Police Act at capturing images, and then, if the police wants it, here you go, we're helping you solve your crime. It specifically says in here, if we want something like that, we've got to have our own municipal police force. And a decade or more ago, we investigated that option and realized that was not a valuable asset for the citizens, and so we decided to stay with the RCMP. I'm very glad we did that for many other reasons as well. I'll just highlight a couple more because I'm sure I'm going to be cut off here soon. So there's even a section in here where the city replied saying, oh, someone's going to be away out of office till December 11th and will reply within a week of their return. Well, it wasn't even included in our package when they're replying. So it's either things are missing from here or it's just not valid. All of the responses that we've been, anybody can now see, all these different cameras, they have listed their capabilities of person detection. And yeah, I know the AI facial recognition wasn't turned on, but many of the cameras were using a very simple switch to allow that data to be collected. And we're not trained professionals as a city to do this. And because we're leading the way, we're basically being the ones to have the problems and issues happen to us first. And why put our citizens at risk? Why put our city under that future scenario? I definitely don't want to go any further on this, so I am definitely opposed to this appeal. Thank you.
Councillor Hobbs.
Thanks, and through the chair. First, yeah, thanks for the report. It is pretty thorough and quite long. That's true, and I think that there are strong opinions on both sides of this issue, and that's understandable. For me, I will be supporting the recommendation without any hesitation at all. I mean, the Act, just a couple points. The Act does allow video and images to be captured for police investigative purposes. So it's an interesting definition that the Privacy Commissioner has of what personal information is, because basically it's any image captured in addition to any other information whatsoever that could identify a person is personal information. Well, the reality is when you capture video and it's stored on a server, you need to take secondary and tertiary steps before you can identify a person based on that video. This is not facial recognition. This is not AI in that way that is done in some other countries. What will happen is there will be an incident that occurs on a certain date, at a certain time, at a certain location. It's a serious offense, which can all be defined by policy. The police would then get simple language is called a warrant from a judge, and they'd come to the city who would be in possession of that information and that data with that warrant or judicial authorization, and then they would get that video for that specific time date, as I've already described. So the thing about video, it's not a panacea, but there are serious incidents where it definitely helps and assists in solving crime that might not otherwise be saved. It's not going to be at every corner and every intersection of Richmond. It'll be in strategic places is the plan where people are coming or going. So even a couple of recent incidents, it's handy to be able to look at that video and see what the description of the car is and be able to capture images of people that might be in that car. We've had some very serious incidents where that would have been very useful. The last thing I'll just say is the expectation of privacy, and this has been through the courts. It's not an absolute right, and it's not an absolute expectation. There is law around it, reasonable law. And the other thing I'll just say is times change, technology changes, and I think the public would be actually kind of shocked to realize that the cameras that we have up for trafficking that are incapable of even capturing a license plate when you have a car going down Sea Island Way shooting at the police that are following them, and stray bullets could go literally anywhere, and yet the cameras can't capture a license plate, let alone the person driving the car. To me, that's shocking. And we definitely have to have solid policy in place to ensure that this is done properly, but that can be done, and that will be done if we go ahead with it. So I'll be supporting the recommendation from staff, Your Worship. Thank you.
Councillor Liu.
Thank you, Worship. I too will be supporting the recommendation from staff. Certainly, we brought in these cameras many years ago, and part of it was that we had seen some of what was happening in other places. We saw that we had the Stanley Cup riot, and it took 1.5 years for some people to be brought to justice. At the same time in the UK, they had a riot. The next day, they were arresting people, bringing people to justice. I think the Privacy Commissioner is not on the side of public opinion. I think he's on the side of the crooks. As Councillor Hobbs said, if we can't even get license plate numbers if you think that it's quite personal that someone has a picture of your license plate, well, I have news for you. Lots of people have lots of pictures of you in the public, and we can all stand on the corner and film it ourselves and live stream it all day long. But somehow as a city, we're not allowed to do it. There was an incident a few years back where someone was kidnapped, and I can guarantee you if that was your wife or kid that had been kidnapped, you'd be having a complete fit that the police didn't have access to the cameras and weren't able to find what was happening and weren't able to use the technology that's sitting right there that we have that could be used. And this is just the start. There are so many opportunities for these cameras. There's AI opportunities where in some countries they're able to see that there's been a car accident and it can determine the severity of the car accident, notify the first responders to come right away. If it's severe enough, it can also contact the hospital so that they're prepared for this coming in. It can reroute traffic through Google Maps, through other things, and through working with the other cameras within the city to help drive traffic to other places. Developing countries like Vietnam are heads and shoulders above us with their traffic cameras. People expect that the laws should be enforced. And that's what these traffic cameras are for. People want the laws enforced, and that's what we owe to the people, and that's why we're bringing this forward. And furthermore, we should be partnering with other communities so that there's integration in the information. There shouldn't be silos. You shouldn't just be able to drive across boundary, or if you're in White Rock, or if you're in Surrey and Delta, you just cross one road and you're in a different town and the police can't catch you anymore. It shouldn't be that way. You should know that if you do something wrong, you break a law, you're going to be found and you're going to be brought to justice. Thank you.
Councillor Day.
Thank you very much, Mayor Brody. Very tough issue because, a lot of people are concerned about privacy, but where are you private? Everyone in my neighborhood's got a doorbell camera, and every store that I've been in the last 10 years has got a camera out front. Parking lots have cameras. So where can you go where you're not going to be on some form of camera? We did a test project because we're trying to be fiscally responsible, and we just did one at Granville and Minru, I believe it was, and there is no face recognition, to be clear. There is no recording of voices. There's no body cams that can see the temperature of someone's body. It's just license plates. And none of the video will be viewed by anyone from the city of Richmond. Only when an RCMP officer makes a judicial request for a specific footage at a specific time will that video be released. All video will be destroyed after 30 days. So it's not like Big Brother's going to be watching you 24/7. That's not the case at all. That's why it's mystifying that the Privacy Commissioner took such a hard stance. And the questions that the Privacy Commissioner asked are on page 205 to 226. There are 34 questions, all of which have been answered specifically affirming what I just said. So why do people in Memphis and Nashville and other cities around the world have cameras? Because these cameras, by knowing the license number and the make and model of the car, will increase the solving of crimes between 23 and 48%. And they can map someone as they move along. A few years ago, there was a big shooting at the Vancouver airport, and the RCMP chased after the shooter, who turned around and started shooting at the police officer, smashed the windshield, and the officer had no choice but to back off because of public safety. Had we had cameras on the exit points of Richmond, which is what the 10 locations are for, we would have been able to track this car and potentially have found the perpetrator. I don't know that we ever did find it in that particular case. So the readers are for license plates and just to see where vehicles are moving. And this is a major crime deterrence as well, because I would expect that every single location will have signs all over letting the public know that we have cameras in that area. This will discourage vandalism, it'll discourage crime in general, and it's great for vehicle tracking. So the other thing is when you know that someone's done a crime, that's great. And you press charges, that's great too. But you got to win in a court case. And that's where these videos are absolutely critical for convicting that criminal so we can stop their crime rate. So they're high resolution, but no face recognition. So I did a little checking, and Vancouver Police does have a couple cameras in the worst areas of town. And again, you know, they're not monitored, they're not recorded, they're not surveilling everybody. This is just for investigative purposes. But someone did sue the city of Vancouver, and Justin Elwood's finding was that the Vancouver Police Department did not engage in broad and indiscriminate surveillance, and that it was a useful tool in deterrence of crime. Let's talk about Surrey. Surrey has got a public safety camera program, and it's intended to support crime prevention and improve investigative capabilities and enhance community safety. And so in their case, they're also solely capturing license plates and makes and models of cars so that they can find stolen vehicles and have a better indication of where they went, and they know where to look. They narrow the field. None of this equipment is used for enforcing speeding or for facial recognition. But what else is Surrey doing? And I think I don't blame them on this one. They have asked all their residents to register their doorbell cameras with the Surrey Police Force so that they know where to look. And a lot of times, that little bit of information can be what solves the crime. So, I mean, I'm not into the whole Big Brother thing either, but we have to solve these crimes and we have to get these people off the streets so they're not vandalizing, burglarizing, and potentially murdering people. So I will support this motion, but when it comes to the dollars and cents of it, after we get through this court case, it's going to cost us about $50,000 to challenge this decision by the commissioner. I'll be looking long and hard at that $2 million price tag. There's got to be a way to make those 10 cameras cost a little bit less. But for now, let's move forward. Let's get the right to do what we need to do, which is to protect the people of Richmond. Thank you.
All right, now apparently Councillor Galanders is on the line and she has a question.
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, I just have a quick comment. Sorry that I'm not there. I'm going to vote against this motion, and I've been against the camera program. And it's not a whole Big Brother privacy thing for me. I think that there are some issues with breaches of security and privacy, but I actually find the use of this type of camera, the way it's saved, and then police accessing it when needed for a court case, sounds quite secure and could be quite useful. My issue with it is that the little quiet city of Richmond the Richmond taxpayer is going to be paying millions of dollars for these cameras. The phase one is just the $2 million, and then I think we had approved a huge expansion of it after that, which is going to bring us up to $12 million or something like that. So it's a huge amount of money to have a state-of-the-art camera system, which is light years beyond the ones that Councillor Day was just mentioning in Surrey and in Vancouver. If we want to deter crime in Richmond, we could certainly look at putting up cameras, and Councillor Heed has brought this up with our police before too, but the effectiveness of them has been debatable, or put up signs, you're being monitored. But this is a whole other thing. We're talking about catching a crime. For example, the one that's always given is from the airport. This isn't a Richmond crime. This is a provincial crime, somebody committing a crime, leaving the airport and getting out of Richmond. A camera in Richmond could have helped, but why would the Richmond taxpayer have to be solely responsible for the financial cost of this huge crime prevention program, which isn't about crimes in Richmond? It's about a once every 10-year event or greater, and it should be something that comes from the top down. It should, if we're going to increase our safety and our ability to catch criminals in a sophisticated way in this country, it should be coming provincially, and the privacy commissioner should already be on board, and the RCMP nationally, and everybody could contribute to the cost, not just the Richmond taxpayer, and that could be something we could do all across the country. So this isn't the time for Richmond to be spending millions of dollars on a camera to help solve a crime. when it should be supported by other levels of government first.
I'm struggling to find anything in that last comment with which I agree. The beauty of these cameras is simply to help with enforcement. I think for deterrent, it would have a pretty limited effect. But if you ever want to see a documentary that's interesting on this point, look at the documentaries on the Boston Marathon bombing. Okay, I don't think there was any city cameras or police cameras involved. They were all private cameras, and they determined within just a few hours who had perpetrated this bombing because of the use of the cameras. Now, yes, we don't get that kind of an incident very often, but we do get all kinds of enforcement incidents that we need to take note of. And the point has been made that if you can video on your dash cam or your own cell phone someone who is, after all, in a public place, it's not like we're going into your kitchen to video you. You are, after all, in a public place. So what's transgression is taking place that prohibits a city from collecting this kind of video? But what it all boils down for me is, our justice system has been long since criticized. Certainly when I was practicing, I heard this all the time, and you hear it right up to the present day. Of all the safeguards that are put in place to protect the bad guys, there seems to be an obsession to help the bad guys so that we don't hurt their feelings or we don't violate their civil rights. Isn't it about time in the city of Richmond, like when we had that police shooting, when we've had other incidents, isn't it about time that we put the emphasis on making sure that the good guys are protected? And that is what is going to help us. Why it's so good to have this up-to-date, state-of-the-art tool to assist our community safety people, the RCMP, and everybody else who is involved. It's time we pay attention to the good guys and what their needs are and stop worrying about hurting the feelings and violating the rights of people who are engaged in criminal or other aberrant behavior. So I have just no problem with this, and I'm struggling to understand what the problem with the Privacy Commissioner really is. But obviously, the Commissioner and the predecessor Commissioner have problems with this, and I just think that they're unfounded. With that, I'm going to call the question on the motion. All those in favor? Those opposed? So it's Councillor Wolf and Councillor Galanter's opposed, so it is carried. That brings us to public announcements. So first of all, from closed council, we note that Trustee Rob Beliza was appointed as the Richmond School Board liaison to the Richmond Child Care Development Advisory Committee for a one-year term, and that expires at the end of December 2026. The alternate will be Trustee Debbie Tablotny. Then we have news on the Affordable Housing Hub. The City of Richmond has launched a new Affordable Housing Hub. This is an online tool that brings together information on affordable housing options into one easy-to-use platform. Residents can explore rentals, cooperative housing, and application details, interactive maps, and customizable search tools to help find the right fit. So if you want more information on that or to explore the hub, visit richmond.ca/findhousing. Then, February is Black History Month. This is a time to recognize and celebrate the achievements, the contributions, and the stories of Black Canadians and their communities. Richmond will be hosting a variety of events and activities that honor this rich cultural heritage. So we encourage everyone to go to the city website, richmond.ca, to learn more about the Black communities across the country. Then January 27th, that's tomorrow, is designated by the United Nations General Assembly as International Holocaust Remembrance Day. The purpose of this day is to commemorate the victims of the Nazi regime and to promote Holocaust education throughout the world. The City of Richmond will continue to stand against all forms of hatred and ensure our community is characterized by compassion. And finally, we have the announcement by Councillor Chack Au. I wish to advise the public that the City of Richmond has received a notice of the resignation of Councillor Chack Kwong Au effective February 1st, 2026. Councillor Au was first elected to Richmond City Council in November of 2011, and then he was re-elected ever since then. On behalf of council, I want to thank Councillor Au for his years of service and his contributions to the community during his time on council. Councillor Au will continue his work as a member of Parliament for Richmond Centre Marpole, and we look forward to continuing to work with him in that capacity. At a recent council meeting, council approved a motion that mandates that the city will forego a by-election when a councillor resigns. As a result, a by-election will not be held to fill the vacancy created by Councillor Au's resignation. This decision avoids the significant cost of a by-election. So, Madam Clerk, bylaws for adoption.
Thank you, for your worship. There are 2 bylaws for final adoption with no noted opposition.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried.